All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about something called the shadow self. You know, all those parts of you that maybe you've pushed into the dark a little bit. Now, this isn't about digging up flaws or anything negative, not at all. Think of it more like a journey, a quest to become a more whole, a more authentic version of you. So, let's begin.
So let me just start by asking you this. Do you ever get that feeling, that little nagging sense that there's more to you than what you let people see? You know, like there are these hidden parts of yourself, tucked away so deep you might not even admit them to you. Well, that feeling? That's the exact doorway we're about to walk through today.
Okay, so to really get a handle on that feeling, we've got to look at this, well, this kind of fundamental conflict that's going on inside all of us, really. It's this constant tension, this push and pull between the mask we wear for everybody else and the shadow that's hiding just beneath the surface.
You know, a great way to think about it is like an iceberg. The little bit you see sticking out of the water, that's your persona. It's your public face, right? The polished, put-together, capable version of yourself that you want the world to see. But then there's the massive part of the iceberg hidden under the water, and that is the shadow. It's everything you've pushed down, all the stuff you've repressed, because it just doesn't fit with that shiny, ideal image. And the tricky part is, it's influencing you in ways you probably don't even realize.
And this whole idea, this concept of the shadow self, it actually comes from the legendary psychologist Carl Jung. I mean, this is a really foundational idea. He basically described it as this collection of all the traits we just don't want to own up to. But here's the kicker. Even though we don't acknowledge them, they are totally pulling the strings behind the scenes, shaping our emotions, our reactions, our choices, all without us having a clue.
And this is really the crucial point. The bigger the gap between that shiny persona and your hidden shadow, the more friction you're going to feel inside. It's like an internal civil war. And that is what leads to things like burnout, that deep dissatisfaction, or just that feeling of being completely stuck. It's because you're not living as your whole, complete self.
Okay, so what exactly is hiding down there in the dark? What's in the shadow? Now, here's the part that might really surprise you. It's not just your bad stuff or your flaws. Not at all. In fact, a lot of the time, it's where your greatest strengths are buried.
Okay, so yeah, of course, the shadow does have some of those emotions we've all been taught to suppress. You know the ones. Like if you've been stuffing down your anger for years, don't be surprised if it pops out sideways as like constant irritability. Or if you've buried your fear, you might find yourself just avoiding every new opportunity without really knowing why. See, those feelings, they don't just vanish. They change their shape and pop up somewhere else.
But, and this is the really cool part, your shadow is also where your hidden treasures are kept. Seriously, that creative spark that someone once told you was impractical, it's in there. That spontaneous, goofy, playful side you kind of squashed down to be more serious and act like a grown-up, it is absolutely in there just waiting for you. These are powerful, vibrant parts of who you are. And finally, we get to the really deep stuff. Your shadow holds those desires you might feel a little bit of guilt or shame about. You know, maybe a secret ambition for power that you were worried was too selfish, or personal preferences that you just felt were too taboo to ever talk about. Just acknowledging that they exist, wow, that is such a powerful first step towards living a truly authentic life. Okay, so we've got a pretty good idea of what the shadow is. The big question now is, what do we do about it? How do we actually work with this stuff? Well, that's where we get into the practical, hands-on path of what's called shadow work. The whole journey, it really breaks down into 3 pretty clear stages, which is nice. First up, you've got awareness. This is literally just noticing what's there. That's it. Step 2 is understanding. This is all about getting curious about these parts of yourself, but, and this is key, with compassion, not judgment. And then finally, step 3 is integration. That's where you start to consciously bring these hidden pieces back into the light, back into your life, so you can live as a more whole person. Now, I know this can all sound a bit, well, intense, right? But the good news is you don't have to go on this journey without a map. There are some really practical, really helpful tools that can guide you along the way. So let's take a look at your toolkit. First off, journaling. It is amazing for just getting your thoughts out and starting to see patterns. Then there's meditation and mindfulness, which basically create this safe little space in your mind to just watch your thoughts go by without judging them. You could even get into analyzing your dreams. They're basically little messages from your subconscious. And of course, never forget that working with a therapist or a professional can be an absolutely invaluable support system through all this.
But you know what? If you only take one single thing away about how to approach this, let it be this. Your mindset is everything. This is not, and I repeat, not about fixing something that's broken in you. It's about becoming a curious explorer of your own inner landscape. It's a journey of discovery, not a repair job.
So after all that, you might be asking, okay, but why? Why would I go on this journey? What's the actual payoff for facing all this stuff I've hidden away? Well, let me tell you, the benefits they're profound. They can genuinely transform your life.
I think the biggest gift of all is that you finally get to discover your real self, the authentic, unfiltered you. You start making choices that are aligned with who you actually are, not just who you think you're supposed to be. And that is freedom.
And what's amazing is that it doesn't just stop with you. Understanding your own shadow completely changes how you relate to other people. I mean, when you start to recognize your own triggers and your own insecurities, you stop projecting them onto everybody else. And that leads to so much more empathy, more realness, and way, way deeper, more meaningful connections.
Hey, and remember those hidden talents we were talking about earlier? The impractical ones? Well, by exploring your shadow, you can unlock so much creative potential you didn't even know you had. You might rediscover a passion for art, or writing, or music, something you buried years ago. It's literally like opening a door to a whole new room in your mind.
And finally, shadow work is it's a powerful, powerful path to healing. It gives you the chance to finally confront and release all that old emotional baggage that's been weighing you down for who knows how long. And when you let that stuff go, you make room for so much more peace, more freedom. You just feel lighter.
Which brings us to our last, and honestly, the most important question of all. I want you to really think about this. If you decided to approach your own inner world with curiosity instead of fear, what amazing strengths, what hidden truths, what incredible potential is your shadow just waiting to show you? Because the journey to find out, well, it's one of the most rewarding you will ever take.